Good morning and welcome to the Splash Live, Greater West Bloomfield's only local morning show, giving you exclusive access into people, businesses, and events in our community. We're bringing you this show live daily, weekdays at 9:30 a.m. with your host, me, Maddie Muschin. Before we dive into today's show, every week we highlight someone, an educator, student, business, or organization from our Greater West Bloomfield community going above and beyond. If you would like to submit an entry for someone, you can scan the QR code on the screen, fill out the Google form with the person's name, their contact information, and reasons why you think they should be recognized for our Person of the Week. Now let's go check out what's going on in our Greater West Bloomfield community. The first event we want to look at is an ongoing event. It happens every Wednesday night. This event is perfect if you're looking for something fun to do this winter. Whether you go alone or with friends, the Sylvan Lake Game Nights are a great way to socialize safely with your neighbors and friends. Sylvan Lake Game Nights take place every Wednesday night when there is not a Sylvan Lake board meeting in the community center. Game night starts at 5:30 p.m. and will go to about 9 p.m. at the community center. This event is open to all Sylvan Lake residents, and you're welcome to bring family and friends as well as any games you would like to play. Our next event is happening this Saturday. It is the West Bloomfield Parks Black Expo. West Bloomfield Parks has been working with the West Bloomfield Diversity Task Force to bring new free events to celebrate Black History Month this February. West Bloomfield Parks Black Expo will be held this Saturday, February 26th, from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. at Orchard Mall. This is a free event that is family friendly. There will be a DJ as well as the West Bloomfield Jazz Band will perform at 11 a.m. There will also be demos and displays highlighting careers, resources, and Black-owned businesses. Some of those businesses that will be there are the House of Barbecue, Jewels by Joyce, Authentic Existence, and so many more. To register for this event, you can head over to the West Bloomfield Parks website to register. The last event we want to look at is very fun and exciting. It is almost March. It is unbelievable that we are headed into March next week, but that means that Fat Tuesday is right around the corner. Connect at Orchard Mall in West Bloomfield is hosting a fun morning to celebrate Fat Tuesday. If you're invited, you are invited to drop in any time between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. to grab a punchki and enjoy the Connect Center with friends. No registration is necessary, but they do limit the punchki intake to one per member. If you have an event you would like us to feature, you can send us a message on our social media pages at Civic Center TV and Facebook at Civic Center TV 15. Coming up, I'll be talking with the Township Supervisor for West Bloomfield, Steve Kaplan. But before that, if you head over to the West Bloomfield Township Public Library, you'll be greeted by numerous smiling faces. One of those people that helps kids learn about tender topics and also encourages them to enhance their literacy through fun kits. Let's go check out why we named Emily Vickers our Person of the Week. Our Person of the Week is someone who puts her whole heart and soul into making sure the children in West Bloomfield are educated and supported, especially amidst the pandemic. Emily Vickers, one of the early childhood specialists at the West Bloomfield Township Public Library, has worked in her role to bring a very exciting program to West Bloomfield. Emily and the other childhood specialists created tender topic kits, which make it fun and easier to talk about topics such as divorce and physical differences.
Yeah, so we already had literacy kits at the library, which deal with oral language and a lot of the cool things that go along with language. So we were trying to think of some other things that families might be dealing with at home. So we were thinking about some tender topics that families might need at home, such as divorce or adoption, something that they might need some extra help with. So we wanted to explore some social issues that they might need some more guidance or explanation. So we put together these kits.
Emily also works to create fun virtual programming for the residents of West Bloomfield throughout the pandemic. She has worked to implement educational virtual programming to make sure kids aren't falling behind in their learning while doing school from home. Emily also worked with the schools in West Bloomfield to do outreach in a safe way by hosting these programs outside where the kids can social distance and be in the fresh air.
I do most of the early childhood programming, which is now virtual, which is a lot of fun. We learned how to do everything virtual with COVID, and it's been different, but really exciting to do things virtual so we can still reach some of the families at home during these times, which has been really cool.
Through all of Emily's hard work and passion to make sure that the children in our community are staying educated and having fun, especially during the pandemic, she has made a tremendous impact in West Bloomfield, which is why we named Emily Vickers our Person of the Week. Thank you so much to Emily Vickers for all the work that she does as the Youth Services Coordinator at the West Bloomfield Township Public Library, making sure that those kids can work through their tender topics that they talk about with their family. Later on, we'll be looking at someone else who is impacting the community through her work at Berkeley High School as a special education teacher. But before that, we'll be joined by West Bloomfield Township Supervisor Steve Kaplan. All that and more after this short break.
We'll be right back with The Splash Live.
In the face of COVID-19, staying healthy is important. And now the same is true as we face the flu. Influenza has the potential to infect millions, putting lives and the healthcare system at risk. Fortunately, it's easy to protect yourself. The flu vaccine is safe and effective, and with COVID-19 still spreading, it's essential. To see how you can hit this virus head on, visit michigan.gov/flu. Can I ask you a question? Why do you want to get the COVID-19 vaccine?
I don't like getting sick. The virus will die. It will be easy to not catch it. Keep my family safe and keep playing soccer. Because I love being vaccinated.
What's your hope for everyone?
I hope everybody gets the vaccine to keep safe and strong. Be happy, having fun everywhere. Everyone stay safe and hope you get the vaccine.
And now, back to The Splash Live.
Welcome back to The Splash Live. I'm your host, Maddie Mustin. It is now time to talk about what is going on in our West Bloomfield community. With our community leader joining us now to give us an update on West Bloomfield is the Township Supervisor for West Bloomfield, Steve Kaplan. Steve, thanks so much for joining us again this morning.
Good morning, Maddie. Are you staying warm and safe?
Yes, I am. I was enjoying the warm weather yesterday, but it's a little bit colder this morning, so I'm dealing with it.
Good.
Steve, could you start off with giving us a little bit of an overview about the Planning Commission meeting that happened last night, some of the topics that maybe they went over, and any updates that you have in Town Hall?
Sure. Well, the Henry Ford Hospital issue, I think, was discussed briefly, but there's a behavioral medical building, health building that will be constructed on the Henry Ford premises. And much interest has been generated regarding that building because of trees that are going to be removed. The Planning Commission, as you know, is separate from the Township Board, and the Planning Commission has exclusive jurisdiction over approving or not approving that project as long as it's in the proper setting. So in terms of planning, tune in. The meeting is on archives, probably available tomorrow, and the Planning Commission meetings are always interesting. It's a good way for a new resident to learn about the township.
And Steve, with the warmer weather hopefully coming soon, if you've been out on the roads, you can tell that they're a little bit bumpy. They're a little bit bumpy. So Steve, would you just give us an update on the roads here in West Bloomfield and what you guys at Town Hall are doing to make sure that it is safe to drive for all of our residents here in West Bloomfield?
Well, the township government, as you know, differs from city government in that cities own all public roads within their jurisdiction other than a state road like Telegraph Road. In a township, the roads are governed and owned and controlled and paved and maintained by the Oakland County Road Commission. Assuming that you're a resident or a business owner or an employee or even a visitor to West Bloomfield and you notice a pothole of some size, you can call Town Hall, call the supervisor's office at 409-1581. We then will contact the Road Commission, and the Road Commission in Oakland County has been extremely responsive in terms of filling in these potholes, which we know can create carnage for our vehicles, damage to the undercarriage, to the tires, and to the wheels. So we're impressed with the Oakland County Road Commission, where we fortunately have a good rapport with them, and they do respond to us, and that's important to our residents.
And Steve, with the potholes that are on the public roads, obviously the city takes care of those, but also if a resident has a pothole or maybe a couple potholes that would be in their neighborhood, how would they go about contacting someone to make sure that those get taken care of?
Sure, same process. You can call the road commission directly, but you might be placed on hold for 10 or 15 minutes. We converse from my office, supervisor's office, with the road commission several times per day. So just call town hall, ask for the supervisor's office, and we will be pleased to take a report on your pothole. And generally it will be repaired within 2 to 4 days. Now, I heard about a pothole that was so immense in another city that a missing persons report was filed, and they were concerned that maybe the person had fallen into the pothole.
Oh, well, we hope that doesn't happen around here in West Bloomfield. Steve, also at Town Hall, you guys are giving away free masks there. Can you tell us a little bit about the type of masks that you guys have at Town Hall, and if a member in West Bloomfield wants to go pick up a mask, how they can go and do that?
Well, credit here belongs to the Oakland County government, probably the Public Health Department and the County Executive's Office, and to the Parks Commission. And we have secured, thanks to the Parks Commission, thousands of free masks. Now, this is a top-level FFP2 mask. You're not going to find a better one, and no charge at all. If you visit Town Hall, just ask one of our employees for a free mask, and we'll provide you with several for you and your family members. But since most of the residents in West Bloomfield are wearing face coverings, at least when they're away from their home, this is a nice benefit for them, and there's no charge, of course.
And Steve, for those who might not be familiar, can you give us a little bit of an update on the mask mandate that is at Town Hall? Are people required or encouraged to wear masks there?
Our internal rules are that anyone in the building, in any of the public buildings, must wear face covering. The one exception is if you have an internal window office where you are a distance from anybody else. But of course, if anyone walks into your office, you need to wear the face covering. Now, some people think this is excessive, that the virus is pretty much, it's diminishing and it's no longer as volatile and pernicious as it was. But fact is, we know the face mask, the face covering is the best way when you're around other people to avoid contracting the coronavirus. We might reconsider this issue, Maddie, on March 1, because the county, as of February 28th, no longer is requiring face masks to be worn in public schools. So we'll review this to determine whether our employees, as well as visitors to any of our public buildings, must wear face coverings.
And Steve, as we wrap up here, do you have any more updates at Town Hall, either with those roads and potholes or anything else that you guys have going on within the building?
We're pleased that we're able to provide full services. We've been able to do this throughout the coronavirus pandemic, and we remain open, Maddie, 8 until 4:30, no lunch break, 5 days per week.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate you joining us again, Steve.
All right, thanks for inviting me. Have a great week.
You too, Steve. Once again, I was joined by the West Bloomfield Township Supervisor, Steve Kaplan, talking about how you can get in contact with the city to get those roads and potholes fixed, as well as those free masks that they have in Town Hall for you to go pick up. A West Bloomfield resident is working to change the lives of teens and families through her work as a special education teacher at Berkeley High School. Megan Brockman has worked to create an inclusive and supportive environment inside and outside the classroom through her new project. We got to talk to Megan about her work and how it impacts others. Splash reporter Calvin Brown has the story.
Making friends, meeting acquaintances, and planning dates can be a towering task for some. And while many choose to learn through practice, some have trouble putting practice into reality. At a young age, Megan Brockman saw just how difficult it was for some students to learn how to keep relationships.
I'm a daughter of a special education teacher who taught in the West Bloomfield School District, and I was around a lot of kids who learned differently. And then when I became a high school student, we had a program at West Bloomfield High School, the LINK program, and basically what it was as one of your classes, you were a peer support to a student with a disability. And specifically, I was paired with somebody who had autism. The first day that I had that class, I left that class and said, wow, I think I know what I want to do when I grow up.
Developing friendly or romantic relationships can be difficult, especially when the vocabulary and flexibility of learning are absent for most, especially the neurodivergent and disabled. Megan spearheaded the My Relationship project to address these issues beyond school.
What we do is we offer classes and coaching and supports for neurodiverse individuals, their families, and their community. We provide information, support, and resources to not only neurodiverse individuals whose brains work a little differently than what you would call normal, but also neurotypical people whose brains work normally, if you will, to help them navigate romantic relationships, relationships at work or at school, and even relationships in their community like doctors or service providers, and to help them navigate their autonomy and independence.
If you or someone you know is struggling with building and understanding relationships, Megan urges you to make the connection and check out the My Relationships Project website.
www.myrelationshipsproject.com to look at our services and things we can provide. We are here for our community members and anyone who, needs to ask questions, our phone number's on there, they can give us a call. And we appreciate, just whoever is seeing this to share our information if they know someone, maybe with a son or a daughter who kind of fits this category, or they're a parent of somebody on the spectrum or with a developmental disability that needs support, call us. We're here for you. And you can find our contact information from our website.
Thank you to Megan Brockman and My Relationship Project for sitting down and talking with us over Zoom. Reporting for The Splash Live, I'm Calvin Brown.
Thank you to Megan Brockman for all the work that she does with teens and families struggling with neurodiversity and socialization. For more information, you can visit her website at myrelationshipsproject.com. We're going to put up our QR code for the Person of the Week again. If you have someone that you think needs to be recognized here on the Splash Live, every week we highlight someone, an educator, student, business, or organization making an impact in our community, whether they are a neighbor or someone that you know in the Greater West Bloomfield community. We urge you to scan the QR code, fill out the short Google form with the person's name, their contact information, and some reasons why you think they should be recognized for our Person of the Week. It is a great way to get involved in the community and here at the Splash Live, making sure the people that are impacting you in our community are recognized here. We're going to take a short break, but when we get back, we'll be talking with Schoenbaechler. He's the Adult Services Coordinator for the West Bloomfield Township Public Library. So don't go anywhere. We'll talk with Eric after this break.
We'll be right back with The Splash Live.
This message brought to you by FEMA. Home fires occur most often in winter. Keep anything that can catch fire at least 3 feet from heating equipment. And never use an oven to heat your home. Stay in the kitchen when frying, grilling, or broiling food. Turn space heaters off when you leave the room or go to bed. Make sure all vents are clear of snow and ice to allow carbon monoxide to vent outside. Have your furnace, heating system, and chimneys serviced each year by a qualified professional. Learn more at www.usfa.fema.gov.
Teens a day die from texting and driving. Don't text and drive.
And now, back to The Splash Live.
Welcome back to the Splash Live. I'm your host, Maddie Muschin. The West Bloomfield Township Public Library has a wide variety of virtual programming, and here to talk to us about some of those programs is Eric Schoenbaechler, Adult Services Coordinator for the West Bloomfield Township Public Library. Eric, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Eric, before we get into the great programs that you guys are featuring at the library, let's first talk about your position at the library. What are some of your responsibilities as the Adult Services Coordinator there at the library?
So some of the things that I do, number one is planning and scheduling and coordinating programs for people throughout the community. So that's one of the main responsibilities. We try to have great programs throughout the year to keep people involved and active at the library. I also oversee just the entirety of the adult and young adult collections. So I like to say everything from 6th grade to beyond. That's under my umbrella. I don't purchase the materials for those, but the librarians on my team do. And then just providing services throughout the building, but mostly to the adults and young adults who come in looking for materials or need to study, need help with research. We've got a great staff of librarians who are really skilled and knowledgeable about our collections and our resources, and we're always excited to talk about those and share those with people who come in needing whatever assistance.
Eric, on Monday, you guys had an event called Booked for the Evening, The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. I personally have read that book and love that book. So can you tell us a little bit about that event and what it looked like?
So the Booked for the Evening program, it's something that we do monthly. We have a professor who leads that. Her name is Dr. Tara Hayes, and she's been doing it for us for years and years. It's a great program. This is one of the programs, most of our programs are open to anyone who would like to attend, but this is one that is reserved just for West Bloomfield patrons. Dr. Hayes chooses a theme each season, and so the theme for this season is mythic retellings. So that's why she chose The Song of Achilles for February. The program that we have coming up in March is Wake Siren. That's going to be on March 21st at 7 p.m. And then we have a couple of other mythic retellings throughout the rest of the spring and summer.
And Eric, can you tell us a little bit about the difference between the Booked for the Evening events and the book talk events that you guys hold? Give us a little bit of an overview of each and what the difference is if someone was looking to register for any of these events.
Absolutely. Like I said, the Booked for the Evening events are open just to West Bloomfield resident card holders. So West Bloomfield, Sylvan Lake, Orchard Lake, and Keego Harbor, they're welcome to register for those programs. The Book Talk programs, those are sponsored by the Friends of the West Bloomfield Township Public Library, and they're coordinated by them as well. Those are open to everyone. And similar to Book Talks, they choose several titles throughout the year. They do one program each month. The one that is coming up in March is for The Overstory by Richard Powers. That was actually a Pulitzer Prize-winning book in 2019. They do 2 sessions of it. So the next one is going to be Thursday, March 10th at 7 p.m. And they also do a Friday program. So that'll be Friday, March 11th at 10 a.m. There's not necessarily a theme for the book talks. They just choose books that are popular, have great literary value, are titles that people have been interested in or expressed interest in discussing. So they're both discussion-based programs. They allow everyone to participate. They're structured a little bit differently based on the theme versus non-theme.
And Eric, as we are now nearing the end of February, can you tell us a little bit about some of the upcoming events or programs that you guys have happening in March?
Absolutely. So March is actually a pretty full month of programs. We're excited about some of the things that are coming up. So on March 1st, we have author Alice Randall is going to be joining us virtually. She wrote the book Black Bottom Saints a couple years ago, which is a great book. It's set in Detroit. It takes place between the years of like post-Great Depression through the end of World War II. And it's a Women's History Month program, and she's going to be talking about the female characters in Black Bottom Saints. So we're really excited about that. We have another, that's Tuesday, March 1st at 7 p.m. We have another program coming up on Tuesday, March 8th at 7 p.m. a week later. That one's going to be presented by the Zeckelman Holocaust Center. That one's called Resistance During the Holocaust. And so that program is going to discuss the different avenues of resistance. And it's going to use artifacts and survivor testimony and survivor artwork. So that one is another program that we're really looking forward to. Excuse me. And then another one that we have at the end of the month on Thursday, March 31st at 7 p.m. It's called The Lonely Hearts Killers. That's by author Tobin Buke. He's an historian who's written several books about Michigan. And so this one, it's about two people who were part of what was called the Cupid Club. And it was killers who they preyed on Michigan lonely hearts, and it took place in the late 40s. So it's a really interesting story. And Tobin Buke is like I said, the author of that book, and is going to go into a lot of detail about the people who were considered the Lonely Hearts Killers and what the background and impetus for this was. And then one other program that's coming up in March, it is part of our film discussion series, and that one again is just open to West Bloomfield card holders. The March program is The General by Buster Keaton. So the theme for that, this one is also led by Professor Tara Hayes. The theme for that this season is Make 'em Laugh. And so it's about Buster Keaton, Charlie Chaplin, and the Marx Brothers, so some of the classics in old comedy. And so again, the March program is Monday, March 14th at 7 p.m., and that's going to be The General by Buster Keaton.
And Eric, this is a question that I love to ask everyone at the library. I've asked Kathy Russ this question before. Do you have a book that you are reading either right now or have read in the past couple of months that you wanted to share with our viewers here that was one of your favorites?
Sure. I actually listen to books. I'm a big audiobook fan. So the one that I'm currently listening to, it's a brand new book. It's by an author named Chuck Klosterman, and it is called The 90s. So it goes back into some of the things that define the 90s, some of the things that were popular, some pop culture things. And being a child of the 90s, I graduated from high school in the mid 90s, went to university in the late 90s. It's bringing back a lot of memories. So it's a really fun book to listen to. Some things that I hadn't necessarily forgotten, but it's kind of reliving my teenage years. So it's a fun book and really interesting to listen to.
Well, Eric, thank you for sharing that with us, and we so appreciate you joining us this morning on the Splash Live.
Thank you. I'm so glad to have been here.
Once again, I was joined by Eric Schoenbaechler. He is the Adult Services Coordinator for the West Bloomfield Township Public Library, talking about some of their virtual programming that they have coming up in the March of month. That is going to do it for today's show. Thank you again to Steve Kaplan and Eric Schoenbaechler for joining us this morning. A special thanks to our Zoom producer, Jared Clark, for coordinating the Zoom and making sure our guests joined us. As always, a big thank you to Calvin Brown, our board operator, for making the show possible each and every morning. And thank you for joining me as we explored all of the people and events going on in our Greater West Bloomfield community. As always, you can make sure to tune in live on Civic Center TV on Comcast Channel 15 and AT&T Channel 99 Monday through Friday to catch up on what's going on in our Greater West Bloomfield community. You can also watch our show every morning on My Michigan TV. It's the new streaming service that covers all of the great people and events happening around Michigan. You can either head over to mymytv.com or download the My Michigan TV app on your smartphone or smart TV. That's MyTV. It's mymitv.com. For all of our friends in Orchard Lake, Sylvan Lake, Keiko Harbor, and West Bloomfield, I'm Maddie Muschen. Thank you for joining us again on The Splash Live.